And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to continuing coverage of the 2019 Deloitte Tankard, presented here live from the Dartmouth Curling Club on a lovely Friday evening, as we're down to the final round, as we will officially finish it up the round robin and narrow it down from the final 8 to the final 3. We know who those 3 will be, but this round will decide who will be advancing on to the championship final. Live here on Sunday, starting at 2 p.m., and will extend their season to go one more shot toward the Tim Hortons Brier. As we welcome you inside the ice shed of the Dartmouth Curling Club, I'm John Seitman here with you, bringing you the action for Team Kendall Thompson versus Team Chad Stevens. We'll give you a rundown of the teams as we get going. Team Stevens is a NSCA affiliate team, so that just means that they have curlers from multiple different clubs. Their lead is Kelly Middlestad. Their second is Ian Jerlink. Their third is Cameron McKenzie. Oh, my apologies. I'm being told.
His third is Burgess. It's wrong on the
Okay, lead is Kelly.
His second is Greg.
My apologies. I've been told there. So the lead is Kelly Middlestad. The second is Graham Brecken. Their third is Peter Burgess, and of course the skip is Chad Stevens. And their opponents tonight are Team Kendall Thompson. Their lead is Michael Brophy. Their second is Chris McRae. Their third is Bryce Everest, and their skip is Kendall Thompson. And they curl out of the Halifax Curling Club. As we get started with this end, it will be Team Chad Stevens who will have the last rock, playing the Yellow Stones in this first end of play. Reminder that we will be playing 10 ends of play, 38 minutes of thinking time per team. And if we are tied at the completion of regulation play, we would play an extra end to decide the victor in this evening's contest. And also, as well, we are playing the 5-rock rule. So, unlike the usual free guard zone rule that some of you may be familiar with, instead of it being the first 4 rocks, if they come to rest in front of the house, that they could not be removed from play, is actually 5. As we get started there with this, and pretty straightforward start, the center guard just outside the house there from Thompson, and Stevens guarding up the stone at the edge of the 8. I'll also mention just quickly as we get started with this match as well, we forgot to mention that the alternates for these two teams are longtime junior competitors Adam Cox, who is the alternate for Team Stevens, and Matt Manuel, who is the alternate for Team Kendall Thompson. As that stone will push the guard into the house. Sitting 2 is Chad Stevens. So there are games in play on all 4 sheets this evening here at the Dartmouth Curling Club, and we will try to keep you up to date as best we can with all the action across the sheets, as well as what's going on there in the standings, as we will narrow it down officially to the teams that will face off in the playoffs. On sheet B, it will be Brent McDougall facing off against Kevin Ouellette. McDougall with a record of 3-3, but unfortunately with how this field has gone there, 3-3 will not be enough to advance even if he does win this game. Kevin Ouellette will be facing him with a record of 1-5. Our game here, Thompson sits in a record of 2-4, facing off against Stevens, who is at 5-1, so he will advance. The question is where he will sit in the final standings in what will be one of the biggest matches of the evening. They're on sheet D, our other feature game, where Selena Thompson has the call for you. It will be Jamie Murphy, currently with a 6-0 record, facing off against Stuart Thompson at 5-1. If Jamie Murphy wins this game, he would advance to the final with a flawless record of 7-0. Things could get real interesting, though, should there be a win from Stuart Thompson, as a win by Stuart Thompson and a win by Chaz Stevens would put three teams tied at 5-1. And I believe that could potentially go down to draws to the button to decide who gets the bye to the final. And over on sheet E, Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc, the former champion of this event, faces off against Doug McKenzie, who is unfortunately had a tough week there, 0-6, but looking to finish off strong against a very tough Ian Fitzner-LeBlanc rank. So as we continue on there, lots of stones moving on that one. And it's Clean House there facing Peter Burgess. Of course, the Burgess family, very high profile when it comes to sport of curling in the town of Truro. And while we mentioned Peter, we'll also send a shout out to Carly Burgess and her team Caitlin Jones, who are competing out in Saskatchewan at the New Holland Canadian Juniors and got a crucial 9-8 victory over Quebec. So they will be facing off tomorrow in the semifinals of the New Holland Canadian Juniors, facing the winner of a tiebreaker match, but that will be live on TSN starting at 3 p.m. tomorrow. So Stevens does get that stone into the back of the 12-foot, holding one. As we see the stone here from Bryce Everest, third for Team Thompson. Sweepers working on it hard there, McRae and Brophy. Trying to navigate there to set up the guard. Will do so. A reminder, though, this is the last draw of play here from the Dartmouth Curling Club during the round robin. We still have lots of action to bring you, as we will have draws at 9, 2, and 7 tomorrow. And, of course, the championship finals, which will take place on Sunday. The women's final at 9 a.m. and the men's at 2, as we determine our representatives that will be headed off to the 2019 Tim Hortons Brier at Westoba Place in Brandon, Manitoba. And, of course, the women's, the big opportunity for the winner to represent Nova Scotia on home soil, competing at Center 200 in Sydney. So not too many stones in right now there. Thompson gonna try to, from what I can see, it's the question, can you get access to that stone at the back? If you're able to play with a precise weight, you should be able to get it there. It's just that area toward the edge of the sheet, it can get a little bit tricky, as we saw during the games earlier today, both the Brent McDougall versus Doug McKenzie matchup and the matchup this afternoon between Kristen McDermott and who was it there? I forget. It's been a long day. There. Oh, I forgot. It was, my apologies. It was Tanya Hilliard. So on skip stones here, Kendall Thompson. A little bit unorthodox delivery style that he exhibits there as he pushes out of the hack and looking to come around the guards and bury this rock nice. Looks like the sweepers need to go and need to push it every inch they can get. Good shot there. Comes to rest at the back of the 4-foot. Sitting shot stone. And when we went off the air this afternoon, there was a lot of questions there as to where the women's tournament is now that we finished off the draw with a 4-way tie for second place. So it appears to be there that, so they will be playing tiebreakers. Their tiebreaker 1 and tiebreaker 2, there will be Colleen Jones versus Kristen McDermott and Marianne Arsenault versus Tanya Hilliard. And based on what I see there on the website, that will be at 9 a.m. tomorrow here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. So clean house here, with the exception of the one back yellow, so it's going to force Kendall Thompson to make a nice draw behind the guard, put some pressure on to Chad Stevens, the former provincial finalist. Missing out just a few years ago to Jamie Murphy in a bit of a heartbreaker finish at the Mayflower after they went undefeated. A little bit heavy in an extra end, and it cost the Stevens rink. But looking at redemption here, sweepers working on it. Brophy and McRae will rack on the guard. Comes to rest, shot stone, but it's open for a hit right there. You score your deuce to open up this final round of action. So we now will see, as he settles into the hack, Chad Stevens, the firefighter out of Chester. Final stone here in end number 1. Sweepers working on it, will get to the nose to score his deuce to open up this game 2-0. Chad Stevens through one end of play. Kendall Thompson will have the last rock in end number 2, playing the Blue Stones. So we already introduced the teams there originally, but we'll give you a little rundown of who some of these ones are, because there's lots of really high-profile players who really have been strong in the circuit there. As we'll talk about Chad Stevens and his team, the lead Kelly Middlestat, as he just pushes out of the hack for his first to open up this end. Currently residing in Elmsdale, he's a lawyer with Birchall McDougall LLP in Truro. He is a finalist of the Tim Hortons Brier in 2005, alongside the Sean Adams ring, and also a world men's junior champion representing Alberta, winning the national title, and went on to compete at the Worlds and won it back in 1994. Graham Bracken is a 3-time provincial champion listed there out of Truro and Chester, most recently winning the provincial mixed. And Peter Burgess, a 2015 Nova Scotia Tankard winner alongside Glenn McLeod. And of course, Chad Stevens, out of the Chester Curling Club, 2016 Canadian Firefighter Champion. My apologies, he's a gas division manager at Ready Refrigeration, who I see on the back of the thing there are one of their sponsors, so we will mention that. And he, as well, Chad, was the 2016 Canadian Firefighters Curling Champion. As we see a stone here from Middlestat, Burgess, and Brecken working on this one here. Comes to rest top 8, now biting top 4. Sweeper's not wanting to touch this one, as it looks a little bit hot. Sweeper's working on it now, McRae and Everest. Now we see Graham Brecken here. Second for Team Stevens, looking to make the hit on the stone at the edge of the 8-foot. Gets the hit, nudges, and will spill to the other side to the edge of the 12-foot, sitting 1, 2, 3. And great to see a large crowd here in the clubhouse and out in the on-ice seating here. If you're in the area, come on down to the Dartmouth Curling Club on Canal Street. Great curling left throughout the weekend, of course, between now and the championship final coming up on Sunday for both the men's and the women's. Sweeper's working on this one here at Brophy and Everest. Trying to come to that stone at the top of the 8-foot, will push it back a little bit. So cuts one out of the count. Millstat and Burgess working on this one, looking for the hit. Will jam on the back, but will sit 1, 2, 3. And it seemed for any of the spectators that were here at the Dartmouth Curling Club, I did see up on Facebook that a photo from the Dartmouth Curling Club where the Scotties Trophy is here on show. The National Scotties Trophy, of course, that event taking place at Center 200 in Sydney. First time since 1992 that the National Women's Championship will be played for here in Nova Scotia. The last event being in Halifax in 92 at the Metro Center. On the third stones here, Peter Burgess. Gets the hit, sticks right there. 1, 2, 3's the count. So pressure on for Kendall Thompson. A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget we are live and interactive here at the Dartmouth Curling Club for this event. You can send us your questions and comments, and of course where you're tuning in from is one of the things we love to hear, because we seem to always get viewers from all over the place there for all of these broadcasts. So we'd love to hear from you. As we see a stone there goes out the back. Opportunity now for Stevens to bring another into the house and really put some pressure on. As we see a stone here from Burgess, Middlestat and Brecken dusting it there. Now Brecken picks it up, try to get some separation. Will do so, but does set up the possibility of some hit and rolls and double opportunities. Signal from Brophy was weights up on this stone here from Everest. Will get the hit, but will stick right there.
Sometimes I just don't even know what to say. She's doing everything.
So skip stones here, Chad Stevens. Opportunity to sit a count of 4. Makes no mistake of it there. You're probably going to have to see some attempt at that double is simply being that you can't limit the damage at this moment in time without. Sounds like he may be calling for instead just going for the hit and roll, which could set up a possibility out of multiple as well. First and 2 here from Kendall Thompson. McRae working on this one early. Coming over, looks like that was the way to get it. Does remove one, bumps the other yellow a bit further over. It's hit shot stone, but will be open. Opportunity for Stevens to sit on that one to score. Correction, to force Thompson to take a single point. At the completion of this end, we'll give you a rundown on some of the action taking place here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. All games now into the second end of play. Actually, most of them on Skips Rocks too, so we'll probably be able to give you updates of all the games after 2. So far we've already determined there that the only thing that is a sure thing right now is that it will be Jill Brothers that will have the bye to Sunday's final. The former champion and the winner of the Dave Jones Mayflower Cash Spiel, who will be looking to win another provincial title and is one win away from the Scotties. Sweepers working on this one there as McRae dusts it in. Good result there for Kendall Thompson to take a single point. 2-1 Stevens after two, and it will be Chad Stevens with the last rock in end number 3, playing the Yellowstones. So as we get started there with this third end, we want to take a moment to say thank you as well to our partners at the NSCA, including Harding Medical, who are the sponsors of the stick and wheelchair provincials. Of course, the Curling Store, who are always great supporters of the NSCA and curling in Nova Scotia. And of course as well, Tim Hortons, the sponsors of the Hit, Draw, and Tap competitions and the Junior Badge program. 2 great initiatives championed by the NSCA. And the cool thing for some of those juniors is that they'll get to compete on the ice at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Sydney for the finals of that skills competition. As we see the center guard set up there by Team Thompson, Stevens calling on Middlestat to come on right around. Sweeper's not really touching this one, so waiting for it to come down. Will do so, comes the rest top four. So Brophy called on to draw down to the stone at the top of the four. Comes down to rest right on top. Will sit. Frozen right on. So as well, we do have to, of course, extend our appreciation out to the Dartmouth Curling Club, who have been great hosts once again for this event. They've been hosting it for the past, I believe this is the second or third year that they've been doing this combined event here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. And definitely a phenomenal show once again from them and the 16 teams. And of course, thank you goes out to Lynn Burgess and her entire team and the Dartmouth Curling Club members putting their own club curling on hold for 10 days or so to have some of the best action in the province make their way onto the ice here. So Shotstone remains at the top of the four, Chad Stevens. So Stevens calling on Graham Brecken to make the peel on the blue guard of Team Kendall Thompson. Will make the peel successfully. So McRae, the left-hander coming out of the hack, trying to set up the guard once again. Now we have all the updates on the other sheets. We'll now let you know that it is a tie game between Brent McDougall and Kevin Ouellette, with a single by McDougall in 1 and a Ouellette single in 2. So McDougall will have the hammer in at number 3. In our other feature game, there's a little bit of shock on the final stone as Stuart Thompson hits a little bit thick and it rolls over and out, and it was a steal of 1 for Jamie Murphy as he takes a 2-0 lead over the Stuart Thompson rink. Of course, Stuart Thompson and his team of Colton Steele, Travis Coulter, and Taylor Ardeal, alongside their coach Kevin Patterson, are from this Dartmouth Curling Club, so many out supporting them as they look to advance their position in the playoff bracket. and extend their chances to head off to the Tim Hortons Briar at Westoba Place in Brandon. So Everest having a quick little chat with his skip, Kendall Thompson. Appears based on the weight, looks like it's pretty similar call to what we've seen there of the guard. Weight looks a bit heavier than what we've seen, so that could be a little bit of a issue for them. It will come to rest in the house. Will push a few of them around. Does produce some opportunities there because I do see some little bit of a drag effect opportunity. But you'll see Peter Burgess try to make quick work of this. Peter, the long-time 4-stone thrower for Glenn McLeod now. He's now playing here with Chad Stevens, and Sweeper's working on that one there. Bracken really putting in some work and getting the results. Double made to sit. Third shot with his shooter. Great to see throughout the club this week. There's been some very enthusiastic members of the Dartmouth Curling Club junior program out helping out with some of the competition stuff, including the 50-50 draws, as you may have heard in the background as I paused in between shots. And what a great opportunity for them to get to see some stars who have come out of this program at the Dartmouth Curling Club. One of them being Colton Steele, the third for Team Stuart Thompson, who was actually one of the... This is the funny thing, is that he actually taught me how to skip, which is neat to think there just a bunch of years ago. So great to see him and his Team Stuart Thompson, playing so well. So gets a little bit of a rub, will sit 1, 2, 3. But the big question is, will they try to look at the opportunity to move all three? You can get at least the two front ones moving for sure. And it looks like that's what they're going to do, because the jam possibilities on that third stone are a little bit difficult. So big weight here from Kendall Thompson as we're on to skip stones. Looking for at least a double. Waiting on it. Gets the hit. Moves all three. So almost made the triple, but at least got the double. And will sit a count of 1, 2. So on to the first stone here from Chad Stevens. Looking to draw down to that stone at the back of the 8-foot sweepers working on it there, Brecken and Middlestat. Will come to rest there, just taps back the stone of Kendall Thompson, so shot stone will be belonging to that stone just thrown by Chad Stevens. And I will mention there, as we did talk about Chad Stevens, that Stevens family is also a very good in the sport of curling, as Chad's daughter Taylor is the vice for Callie Moore, the provincial champion out of the junior program there, that will be representing Nova Scotia at the upcoming Canada Winter Games in Red Deer. So we wish them the best of luck alongside Ethan Young in the men's tournament. So challenging position here for Kendall for his final stone, looking to manufacture either a steal or at least force Chad Stevens to take a single point. Throughout this draw, we'll also try to tell you a little bit about who will be headed off to the Tim Hortons Briar, and of course some of the playdowns that are going on this weekend across Canada. There's lots going underway there as we see this stone here from Kendall Thompson. Sweepers trying to work on it, but will jam. How far will they get it? They will get it to the top of the 4, sitting shot stone. So Burgess kind of gesturing the lineup for the double he was hoping for, but looks like it will be just a nose hit. Try to sit there. It should be enough to go for his deuce. Final stone here in end number 3, Chad Stevens. And looks like he'll be a single point for him with that stone at the back of the 8-foot. So that will be a 3-1 lead for Chad Stevens. Kendall Thompson will have the last rock in end number 4, playing the Blue Stones. So again, it's been quite a tournament there, coming down to the wire for many of these teams as they look to represent their provinces at the upcoming Tim Hortons Briar coming up in March at Westoba Place in Brandon. So as we see a stone here from Kelly Middlestat, we'll let you know there are a few provinces that have already determined their representatives, including John Likely coming out of Prince Edward Island, Martin Crête, the longtime vice for Jean-Michel Menard, who will be skipping the team out of Quebec. Dave St. Louis, the longtime representative out of Nunavut, will be going back again. And of course, the defending champion, Brad Gushu, Team Canada, will be returning to defend their title, curling out of the Ballyhaley Golf and Curling Club in St. John's. As we see that stone there from Team Stevens, comes to rest top 4 guard being put up by Michael Brophy. One of the provincials taking place this weekend alongside ours here in Nova Scotia is the New Brunswick Tankard. And currently, through 7 draws, the team of Grant Odishaw, Terry Odishaw, Mike Kennedy, Mark Lecoux, and Jordan Pinder holding a 5-1 record. Of course, Jordan Pinder, the former member of Team Jamie Murphy, now curling out of New Brunswick. As we see that stone of Middlestats comes to rest, top 8. So definitely need the come around here from Brophy to really be placed just right. Will come to rest buried behind the guard, so great result there from Michael Brophy. Sweepers working on this one here from Brecken. Gets a hit, rolls over to the back of the 8-foot, sitting a count of 1, 2, 3. And that's just something that we've seen throughout the tournament there from Chad Stevens and his team. Really dangerous with the last rock, and when they don't have the last rock, they're able to really play that aggressive style that can steal away points from you and put you under pressure every end. Gets a little bit of the tap, comes to rest just above T line. Sorry, the stone tapped. Just moved over to T line, so not in the count, so 3 yellow belonging to Chad Stevens. And now you'll see Brecken being called on to peel the guard, make that stone accessible, and Burgess working hard to make sure he can. Will do so and roll out the other side. Onto the zone here from Chris McRae. Second for Kendall Thompson. We did see him back on some of the streamed games there at the Dave Jones Mayflower Cash Spiel, sparing in for Scott Zachary in that big win over Team McDonald from Ontario to win the Dave Jones. Third stones here, Peter Burgess gets the hit, will jam the other, comes to rest, still shot stone. A reminder, just a little bit early, but still want to let you know there that after the fifth end, we will have about a 5-minute break as the ice crew does their mid-game maintenance. So once that end is done, stay tuned because we will be back and we will have the remainder of this match for you here live from the Dartmouth Curling Club. And of course, that's the time when I mentioned about ice maintenance. I got to say a huge thank you to Tracy Froud and his crew for their hard work on the ice the past many days, putting on some great conditions for the players. And of course, we have to thank our crew behind the scenes at 360 Live, who are here from morning till night, it seems, doing the broadcasts, behind the scenes work, and making them look good out there on the ice, and we thank them. So Burgess gets the hit, rolls over, and will sit shot stone. Bryce Everest here with looking for the hit for Team Kendall Thompson. Will get it, rolls away. Still enough to sit what appears to be second shot. So on the skip stones here, Chad Stevens without the last rock here in this fourth end of play. But as well facing two counters belonging to Kendall Thompson. Gets a hit, 6 right there. Sitting second shot. as we watch for this stone here from Kendall Thompson, an update of the game over on E. It is a count of 5 over for Eddie. Sorry, correction, Doug McKenzie. I'm so used to that McKenzie name coming out of Prince Edward Island there that I almost messed up his name, so I apologize about that. But it's a 5 count for Doug McKenzie to take a 6-1 lead over Ian Fetzer-LeBlanc. Blank end in our other feature game between Jamie Murphy and Stuart Thompson, so 2-0 lead remains for Murphy. And on sheet B, it just finished the 4th end, but going into that, it was a 2-1 lead for Brent McDougall. So it looks like based on how this seems to be going, looks like Chad is probably expecting there that he will probably drop a multiple point end here. So it rolls to center line, but looks like it will be a shot on the outturn side. Remove it, stick right there, and you score yourself your deuce to tie this game back up through 4. Important shot here for Kendall Thompson, down by 2. Brophy was working on it early, just waiting for it to come down. Needed to curl. We'll get it, stick right there, and we'll score his deuce to tie this game up at 3 apiece. Chad Stevens will have the last rock in end number 5, playing the Yellow Stones. So as we get started here with this 5th end of play, Michael Brophy settles into the hack. Ready to go here for Kendall Thompson. Update there of the game on B. It was a steal of 1 for Brent McDougall to take a 3-1 lead over Kevin Ouellette. But again, many eyes situated onto our TV games as 3 of the 4 teams competing in these games will advance on to the playoff rounds. Of course, just deciding who will make it to Sunday's final and who will compete. What appears to now be probably Saturday night, but again, as unconfirmed as to the semifinals. Actually, correct me. Actually, I may be wrong, but I believe that it was guaranteed to be there anyway, pending tiebreakers. But it will be on the Saturday evening draw at 7 p.m. We will be bringing the action from the semifinals to you here on streaming. As we see that stone there from Stevens, buried halfway into the 4 foot. So Middlestat is getting final directions here from Chad Stevens. He likes what appears to be the hit there. It looks like there's a little bit of cheering section there for Team Thompson out there on the ice, as I think I saw the teal rally towels. Of course, matching those very
As the guys are going into the fifth end, I know it's not a washing one, I promise.
distinctive.
As you know, across the street where the market is, we've been parking there all week. Unfortunately, on Saturday and Sunday, the market is open. So we're not going to be able to
The
park
distinctive
there.
pants there that they
Behind
wear.
the market, there's a bit of a parking lot that we can use. Up to the left towards Portland Street, there's that big parking lot. It belongs to Moffat's. I assume we can probably go in there. But just please don't park in the market parking lot tomorrow or Sunday. Thank you.
Apologies there. There was an announcement inside the club that was just going on, so that may have blocked some of what you may have been hearing there. McRae with this one here, trying to get around the guards, bury this one in right, and it would really put them in a good position. Will be a little bit light, so we'll rack on the guard. Still, shot some buried belongs to them.
Also, it's just been brought to my attention that just past the parking lot down, a little bit further down this Canal Street on the left-hand side, there's an open lot. You could probably park in there as well. That should be no problem.
Graham Bracken playing around, trying to make contact with the blue of Team Thompson. Will jam on their own. Where will it go? It will go to the back of the 12. Shot zone still belongs to Kendall Thompson, but it is open. So McRae, big weight here. Looking to navigate there. Oh, what an unfortunate result there as he jams Wicks over and takes out the shot stone. So now holding 3 is Chad Stevens. Sweepers working on this one here. Burgess and Middlestat looking to draw another one around to sit 4. Really put the pressure on back onto Kendall Thompson. On the third zones here, Bryce Everest. Looking for a bit of a finesse tap down into it. Try to get the shot stone. Sweeper's working on this one. And he got it there to the side of the button, shot stone. Sweeper's really waited on that one to get it just in the right position. So now we see Stevens third, Peter Burgess. Middlestat working on this one here, trying to hold the line, will do so. Will sit down on that one and will sit for 5. So lots of pressure being put on to Kendall Thompson. So need to clear some granite. Most likely to at least limit the count. Sweepers get the hit there and rolls over to the side, sits. Second shot, it appears, as the shot zone will belong to Chad Stevens at the top of the 4. Burgess working on this one here. Gets the hit. Will stick right there. Back to a count of 5 once again. Definitely lots of pressure being put on to Kendall Thompson now leading into these skip stones. You don't want to give up a big count here or else this game could get ugly fast. So they're going to really want to limit the count. I do see a possibility with the area that they're looking at to try to remove those stones at the back of the 12-foot, right by where Kendall's broom is. There could be some hit and roll potential where you could clear out one of the others. But again, very challenging shot. And honestly, based on what I've seen in the past, Kendall is not as prone to going for the big weight shots as much as he is his draw play. He is an extremely good draw player. But in this case, he is going for the hit, trying to remove at least 2. Sweeper's not touching this one, needing it to come up a little bit. Will do so, gets one out, rolls to the other side, will sit corner frozen on the stone at the back of the 12. So cuts down from 5 to 1, but it is open that they can get access to that stone should Team Stevens want to do so. An aggressive play for a count in this end could really change the trajectory of this game. So, as we see a stone here from Chad Stevens, it is a 2-1 lead for Jamie Murphy, as we saw a single point end in the fourth for Stuart Thompson. Looks like the game between McKenzie and Fitzer and LeBlanc has gotten a bit out of hand there, as after 5 ends of play, score is 9-1 in favor of Doug McKenzie. So big final stone here for Kendall Thompson without the last rock. Playing the Blue Stones, looking to get his protected and shot stone. Sweeper's working on this one early. Waiting for it to go. It is going now. We see Sweeper's working on it and will get it to the side of the button to sit shot stone. That being said, it is accessible. To try at least score a multiple point end with the hammer going into the 5th end break. The ideal result could result in a 3 or more. There's lots of granite there for the yellow Chad Stevens. Final stone here in end number 5, playing the Yellowstones. Chad Stevens looking for the hit. Middlestat working on this one here. Gets it by the first, gets it by the second, will sit down for a count of 3. So it will be a 5-3. Correction, sorry. 6-3 lead for Chad Stevens going into the 5th end break. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. You're watching the Deloitte Tankard live from the Dartmouth Curling Club. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to continuing coverage of the 2019 Deloitte Tankard, presented here live from the Dartmouth Curling Club. I'm John Seitman here on Sheet C, bringing you action from this matchup between Chad Stevens and Kendall Thompson, as it was a big count of 3 in the fifth end for Chad Stevens to extend his lead now up to a 6-3 scoreline going into this sixth end of play. Kendall Thompson will have the last rock in the sixth, playing the Blue Stones. So as we get started back up again, we will quickly remind you of the teams. Kendall Thompson lead Michael Brophy, second Chris McRae, third Bryce Everest, and their skip is Kendall Thompson. And Chad Stevens, his team, their lead is Kelly Middlestat, their second is Graham Brecken, their third is Peter Burgess, and their skip is former provincial finalist Chad Stevens. So we're nearing almost near the end of this evening's action. Of course, halfway through, 5 ends to go. As we see a stone here from Middlestat, looking to get around, will do so. To sit for 2. So now Brophy will have to play the...
No, he gave a field one, so it's tied up now.
to come around there, try to set up the double guards and protect. So we will remind you there, in the games over on Sheet B, it is a 4-3 lead for Kevin Ouellette over Brent McDougall. On Sheet E, it is a 9-1 lead for Doug McKenzie. So that game probably, though anything can happen, it's pretty much nearing its conclusion, as I've seen rocks in and out. And after getting a little bit of an update there from the spectators, it is deadlocked at 2 apiece between Jamie Murphy and Stuart Thompson, as Stuart takes a steal of 1 to tie up that game against the defending champion. And there will be a final over there on Sheet E. It will be a 9-1 victory for Doug McKenzie. So unfortunate, and for the team of Ian Fitzer and LeBlanc, finishing with a record of 2-5. Doug McKenzie will jump up to a record of 1-6. So we see that back on our feature game here, a Yellowstone belonging to Chad Stevens right on the button, 1 stone just above that. at the top of the 8. And they're being protected by center guard, so Chris McCrae being called to play around it and potentially move a few things around. Will do so. Gets by the first. How will it move the other two? Will move the 2-shot stones just a little bit closer together. Produces some opportunities for doubles and other forms of movement of those stones. Okay, so based on what I've been told here, here is how apparently the tiebreakers are going to work. At 9 a.m., there will be a tiebreaker there between Kristen McDermott, and I believe that was against, I think it was Arsenault? No, it was Colleen Jones, I believe, that had that. The winner of that match the winner of tiebreaker 1, which is the one featuring Team McDermott, would advance on to the semifinals. The loser of that match would play in tiebreaker 2. So it would be Jones and McDermott. The winner of that match advances. The loser would play either Marianne Arsenault or Tanya Hilliard. High stakes as the women ended in a 4-way tie for the second position. Burgess here looking for the hit, will get it clumped right around the forefoot. And holding 4 without the last rock is Chad Stevens. You got to think that at some point here you're going to have to play some damage control. As those are really clumped in around the forefoot, as we'll see there, looks like Bryce Everest is going to come down and have a chat with Kendall. So definitely going to need to play. Well, looks like they're going to angle back that stone right beside the broom and try to get some of the others moving, almost a little bit of a clock style shot. It's a big shot here for Everest. And big weight from Everest here. Brophy working on it. Gets the hit. Moves one out of the house. Moves another just enough and will cut the count down from 4 to 2. So on the skip stones here, Chad Stevens. Holding 2, so an opportunity to really put some pressure on as he holds a 6-3 lead here in this matchup. Middlestad and Brecken working on this one as far as they can get it, will get it. Full 12 sitting in a count of 1, 2, 3. So looks like Kendall electing to draw through the port, try to protect as best he can, and put the pressure back on to Chad Stevens on his final. Sweepers working on this one here. Brophy and McRae trying to get it by the guard. How far will they push it? Will they get there? They will paper it, and where will it come to rest? That's a good, real good shot there. So opportunity now set up to have a chance to score a multiple point end here. The most that they really can score based on the positioning is a count of 2, which would still put them trailing, but still would help them get back in this matchup. Reminder that we are live and interactive here at the Nova Scotia Provincial Championships. You can tweet me at John Seitman there, or pretty much on any other social media platform you can find me. Send me questions, comments about the game, tell me where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you. So that stone there from Stevens rubs off a little bit, so opportunity for Kendall Thompson come down to that stone just thrown by Chad Stevens. You get it to stay right there, side button, and you score yourself your deuce. McRae and Brophy right off early. Brophy working on it here and just dusting it off and in. They're just coming down to it. Right to the button to score their deuce. It will be a 6-5 lead for Chad Stevens through 6 ends of play with that deuce from Kendall Thompson. The hammer in, and number 7 will belong to Chad Stevens, up by 1. So Brophy starting this end off here. Looking for the center guard. Middle stat here, looking for the come around.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. It's time.
Of course, we've
Juniors 50-50.
seen
Tonight's winning is
Middle stat for
$9.50.
many years there, as
And we have
most
teams here.
prominently as the
We have boys here from Team Leg.
lead for Sean Adams.
So the first four numbers are 1449 755.
So that's 1, 4, 4, 9, 7.
You may hear a bit of the stuff in the background there. Some of the juniors just announcing the winning 50-50 draw for the evening. And it's great to see them get to come on down and watch some of these very talented men's and women's curlers throughout the week. Hopefully they'll be inspired to keep on developing their game. And who knows, maybe we could see them in a few years competing at this Nova Scotia Provincial Curling Championships, whether it's the Tankard for the men or the Scotties for the women's. So shot stone blowing to Kendall Thompson now at the back of the 8 foot. Sorry, correction, back at the 4 foot, my apologies. So opportunity here for Middlestat to play down onto that. It looks like he will get that successfully to sit for a single. So on to second stones here, Chris McRae. You're probably going to see a few more rocks in play as Kendall Thompson looks to try to steal a point and get back to tie game in this matchup. Sweeper's working on it here, trying to get it by. Will come up just short. We'll put it into the 8 foot. A reminder as we see the stone here from Graham Brecken that we will have wall-to-wall coverage of all the action leading through right to Sunday's final. I will have the call for you coming up at 9 a.m. in the tiebreaker action, followed by probably another tiebreaker coming up at yes, that's I've just been given the confirmation there. So the ladies play tiebreakers. So the winners will play each other in the semi. So confirming that Arsenault will play Hilliard, Jones will play McDermott. And that will be at 9 a.m. Thank you very much, Marion McCauley. If I remember my names correctly, that it would be the competitions director for the NSCA. And we thank her for the information. So that would mean that if that's at 9 with the winners going on to the semifinal, that would mean that we will have the semifinal for you coming up at 2 p.m. tomorrow in the Scotties Tournament of Hearts, followed by the men's semifinal coming up at 7 p.m. Should be some exciting action for you, and I'll look forward to having the call for you. Right through to Sunday's final. So, again, Shotstone blowing there, buried behind the guard. Is that stone from Kendall Thompson? Difficult to access. So it looks like you're going to see probably some big weight here from Peter Burgess, looking to probably run back blue on to blue and remove them both if he can. Big weight here. Gets the hit. Moves the other yellow, and it will be a count of 2 right now. Good result there for Peter Burgess. My apologies again. Second time today that we've kind of forgotten a bit about the colors. It is 2 for Kendall Thompson. My apologies there as I looked up again to the scoreboard just to remind myself and forgot that it was 2 for Kendall. So, but still does open up some more possibilities for Chad Stevens. Update there, single point end in 6 for Jamie Murphy. Stuart Thompson does have the last rock in end number 7 playing the Yellowstones. Over on our other feature games, Lena Thompson has the call for you on that one. Sweepers working on that, trying to get through the hole. Will do so. Where will it go? Thompson trying to drag it out. Looks to me like it's still 1 in favor of the blue of Team Kendall Thompson. So skip stones here. First of two from Kendall Thompson, looking to bury this one around the guard and really put some pressure on. Brophy and McRae working on this one. Taking some time to curl, but starting to come down now. We've seen a lot of hook on this side of the sheet in the past few draws. And it does come to rest, top four. Shot stone and holding two. So on to Chad Stevens. He'll look to try to play down onto that stone. Remove it. Just going through his pre-shot routine, cleaning off the stone. Sweeper's working on this one a little bit early there. Brecken on and off here, working hard on it. Joins him, trying to hold the line. Gets it by the guards. Will get to shot stone to sit the single point. They are, excuse me, they are up by one. And do have the last rock in this seventh end. So Kendall, based on what I can see here, looking to remove that yellow to try to sit shot stone and really put the pressure back on to Chad Stevens. A good hit and roll here could really put the pressure on. Gets a hit, where will it roll? How far will it go? It will go to the top of the four, sitting 1-2. So 2 is what will face Chad Stevens, his final stone. As he settles, gets ready to go here. Brecken working on this early middle stat, joining him. Now middle stat jumps in, trying to get enough curl to hold the line. Where will it sit? It will not. So Chad happy, so that we may be wrong, that may be a single point for Chad Stevens with that stone at the back, but I don't quite know. They're having a look. And they're not moving those 2 stones, so it looks like they're going to call the officials out to make the determination on this one. They're currently delayed a little bit as they're currently conducting a measure over on the Sheets B matchup between Brent McDougall and Kevin Ouellette. While we're waiting for that measure, we can talk to you a bit about, again, the Tim Hortons Brier coming up March 2nd to the 10th at Westoba Place in Brandon, as it will be headlined by Brad Gushu, one of the teams in the world curling out of the Ballyhaley in St. John's, Newfoundland. Him and his team of Mark Nichols, Brett Gallant, Jeff Walker, and alternate Tom Sallows. And then, of course, as mentioned previously there, John Likely coming out of Edward Island, Martin Crete coming out of Quebec, and Dave St. Louis coming out of Nunavut. Still lots of big provinces left to be determined, including, of course, the provinces of Manitoba, who are always big players in this event, the Tim Hortons Brier. And an opportunity this year for Brad Gushu, if he is to defend that title, it would be 3 Tim Hortons Brier titles. After winning back in 2017. So they did measure.
One for us? All right.
So it will be a single in the 7th event here for Chad Stevens to take a 7-5 lead against Kendall Thompson, playing there the Yellowstones. It will be Kendall with the last rock playing the Blue Stones in this 8th end of play. Sweepers working on this one here. Burgess and Brecken just dragging the stone of Middlestat. So opportunity here. Brophy's going to try to take advantage of the 5-rock rule by setting up some corner guards, try to manufacture multiple. Sets up in a pretty good position. Burgess working on this one here, and Brian trying to drag this one down onto their other stone. Will do so, sitting 1-2. Thompson going to ignore that one and come around their corner guard, just placed up by Michael Brophy. Sweeper's work on this one there. McRae and Thompson now joins him. And lots of drama in the clubhouse there as the matchup between Jamie Murphy and Stuart Thompson has been a nail-biter all throughout this match. So if you do want to see some of that action, that is our other feature game, where Selena Thompson has the call at that one. Brecken trying to get it by, will get there to it, will sit 1, 2, 3. And up by 2 and holding 3, you really have lots of pressure coming down into the final ends of this one. So McRae here with this one. So now we have there 2 Yellowstones belonging to Chad Stevens. Now Brecken going to remove that stone belonging to Kendall Thompson. Will hit and roll out. Sits now 1, 2, 3 is the count. Multiple count in favor of Chad Stevens. If he were to manufacture, that would be a significant opportunity in this contest. And Chad will want to win this match for sure to try to extend his record to 6-1. Which 6-1, based on the fact that Stuart Thompson and Jamie Murphy are playing each other, that most likely would be last rock advantage and choice of stones for at least the semifinal. I don't know how the tie-breaking right now stands as to what would happen should Murphy lose this matchup. So if you yellow get moving, leaves yellow holding 2. So Stevens putting lots of pressure on. Up by 2, just nearing the conclusion of this matchup. This is the 8th end. We do play 10 ends of play. So coming down to the wire. As we'll mention there, a steal of 1 in end number 7 for Jamie Murphy in his matchup against Stuart Thompson. A win in that game would extend their record to a total of 7-0, and that would give them last rock advantage and choice of stones in the championship game. Will put them one win away from a spot in the Tim Hortons Brier. As we see hit and roll out there from Burgess. Holding two is the Chad Stevens team playing the Yellowstones. Great to see lots of people here for some exciting curling action this evening, as we now will narrow it down to the teams that will extend their run in this event and get a shot at competing at the Tim Hortons Brier. So second shot belonging to Kendall Thompson. Gives lots of good opportunity there, though, for Chad Stevens to come on down onto that and really put the pressure on. He can almost guaranteed remove that stone for sure, but it's the question of what double are you setting up, because there is a possibility. Sweepers right off on this one, except for dusting from Middlestat. Now he's back in, looking for contact. Will remove the back yellow, but will leave him sitting two on the forefoot. So good result there still, even then, for the skip out of Chester. So as Thompson puts the brush down for Bryce Everest and heads down to the hack for his first of two. Down by two, but with the last rock. Needing to set up at least a multiple point end here. Brophy and McRae just dusting it right now. Everest calling the line. Gets contact, moves the back yellow, and will leave one yellow sitting as second shot. So just a reminder there that since we're almost done, we'll let you know the action coming up tomorrow here from the Dartmouth Curling Club. It will be tiebreaker Saturday morning, as we will have both women's tiebreakers in Scotty's Tournament of Hearts action. There on sheet C. Big shot there from, I just noticed, from Fleming over on our other feature game. He was a little bit of a celebration there, which is a little bit different than what I've ever seen from Paul. So a little bit of an intense matchup. So on sheet C, we will have the matchup between Colleen Jones and Chris Armid. And on sheet D, we'll have Marianne Arsenault versus Tanya Hilliard. Big matchups, as the winners, as mentioned there earlier from our message from Collie, will play off in the semifinals for a chance to face off against Jill Brothers on Sunday. Sweepers working on this one here. Into the score, a single point in the 8th end.
That's what they usually say, but you never know.
It will be Chad Stevens holding a 7-6 lead, and he will have the last rock in the 9th end.
So you guys are moving?
Playing the Yellowstones.
I can see better up there.
These two spots are stuck.
Yeah, that's all right.
So it's going to be a challenge here for Thompson, because he does need a multiple point swing there, because he is down by 1, needing 2 for the win. So we see the guard set up from Brophy, and Middlestat, as expected, will play for it to come around. What did you guess? So Sweeper's just waiting on this one, coming down now. We'll get to the back of the 4-foot shot stone.
Sorry, I moved. I can see better up there.
So opportunity there, now that it's gone to behind the tee line, gives a chance for Brophy to play down onto that. Update there, Brent McDougall taking a single point in 8. Kevin Ouellette still holding a 6-4 lead, and he will have the last rock in end number 9. So Middlestat now looking to come around the guards. Placed by Brophy. Sweeper's working on it here, trying to drag it. Just a little bit more, get behind the guards, will do so. A whole zone itself. So forces Chris McRae to come around to the other side. Sweepers working on this one, coming right down on it. Will be shot stone. So that could be a good potential for a steal point that they will need. So now that will call on Graham Brecken, second for Team Stevens, to peel out the guard just over the hog line. Burgess working on it there, will do so and remove that out the other side. You may hear over in the seating area, it was a big shot there for Stuart Thompson, which got his crowd on its feet. Stuart, always a very popular one here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. Of course, this is their home club, but of course, three of them having called this club home for a very long time, especially Travis Coulter and Colton Steele, who have been together on teams at this club probably since at least 2011 or earlier. So now another peel attempt here for Brecken. If they get the double peel, Stevens signaling it's all right. I'm fine with that. Sweepers working on it there. Burgess looking for there. Will get one of the blue. Rolls his shooter to the other side and out. So on the third zones here, Bryce Everest. And based on the amount of applause there, it was a deuce for Stuart Thompson to tie up their game against Jamie Murphy, the defending champion. Murphy will have the last rock in end number 9, playing the Blue Stones over there. Selena Thompson has the call for you in that contest. That is a big match for both teams, as Stuart wants to get the win to get a chance at first place. Jamie Murphy, if he wins this game, would be guaranteed, of course, with a perfect 7-0 record and a bye to the final would await for whoever finishes in first. But still lots to be determined, as this game here between Chad Stevens and Kendall Thompson is a factor, because Stevens, should he extend his record to 6-1, it would really put up the potential for a little bit of math for the organizers to decide who gets the bye to Sunday's final. Burgess working on this one, looking to remove the blue of Team Kendall Thompson will do so. Rolls over and out the other side. So opportunity now here. Looks like Thompson calling on Everest to play to corner freeze it or so on to that stone at center line, the yellow of Team Chad Stevens. Try to protect the steal point. Sweepers working on this one here. All you got, boys. Will come to rest. Guard in the, so to speak, a guard in the 12-foot. So third zone is here. Peter Burgess. Looking at trying to remove shot stone, pick it out and try to sit your two. If you do that, you'd be up 9-6 going into the final end. And fans that won by. Opportunity here for Kendall Thompson on his first. Try to lock down the scoring area and really put the pressure on. Already holding a single point there. If he's able to place one just right, it would be really good potential to steal a multiple, which would really be a good opportunity for him. Looking to place on the chances of Chad Stevens to extend his record to 6-1.
How are you?
So it does come to rest. Side of the button, holding two. And definitely a lot of eyes focus on that matchup between Thompson and Murphy. As these final games come to a close, the action has never been tighter. All of these teams still left in contention, still want so much to have the opportunity to play wearing the Nova Scotia colors at the Tim Hortons Briar. Stevens here with his first looking to remove the blue at the top, will do so. So it's going to be a packed house facing Chad Stevens, at least a two there. Looks like Kendall calling for his shot to be a draw to the top four. Yeah, right down to the wire here. In this one, there could be some drama depending on the result of this shot for Kendall Thompson without the last rock and down by one. Brophy and McRae jumping in here, trying to place this one just right. They want top four. Sweepers working to drag this one every inch. All you got, boys. And you're going to get it right on exactly where you need it to be to hold three. And really, it's going to be tough for Chad Stevens to score here, because he really has to get a big chunk of the button. Signaling for the in-turn draw, which should be with minimal backing, really. Even with the amount of curl, it's tough to get there and stay there. Really, I don't, based on where the broom is, I do not know what this call is from Stevens, because coming in on that side, you really have no path, so he's probably going to have to play with weight, which will mean that he would probably give up a multiple point and here in favor of the last rock. Oh, my apologies. I didn't remember about that yellow there, but will come lights and it will be a big steal of three for Kendall Thompson, as he'll take a 9-7 lead coming home. Chad Stevens will have the last rock in end number 10 playing the Yellowstones. So again, thanks for sticking with us till the end of this matchup. We still have at least one end left to play. Chad Stevens will be wanting to score at least a multiple end to really give his team a chance. Kendall will be trying to run Stevens out of rocks. And it'll be a final over on sheet B, as it will be Kevin Ouellette with the win over Brent McDougall. So that takes Kevin Ouellette extends his record to 2-5. Brent McDougall will finish at 3-4. So both teams not the tournament that they had hoped, but still did their clubs and their teams well, representing in this Deloitte Tankard. So the only games left in play are our two feature games, both this one here and the matchup between Jamie Murphy and Stuart Thompson. Thompson and Murphy just into the north end. Skip Stone. Stone's over there. Stone there from Brophy comes to rest at the back of the 4. So Middlestat will set up the corner guard. Attempt to manufacture the offense that you need to try to get your triple onto the board that you need. So this is one of those situations different than what you would see. Rule that now Thompson playing this one into the house again, trying to tap his stone at the top of the 12. Does tap it to the back of the 4, sitting at least 2, potential for a third, depending on whether that biter is in. Expect after this stone you will see the big weight to come from Team Kendall Thompson as they'll try to run Chad Stevens out of rocks. Bracken trying to come down to that stone. Comes a little bit heavy, so opportunity there. So Thompson playing a bit aggressive and ignoring that. Planning on trying to draw in another. Brophy waiting for it there along with Everest. Comes down onto his own and will sit for shot stone. Bracken here with his second in this 10th end. Reminder that Chad Stevens will have the last rock. And playing the yellow stones. Trying to get at least a 2 to extend this game. Bracken getting a little bit of a rub there over to the side. Still looks, to me, I may be wrong, but I favor the blue still of Kendall Thompson, but it is super close. Tough to tell from our overhead camera angle. Looks like based on the reaction, it will be Jamie Murphy, the defending champion, going 7-0 with a win tonight here over Stuart Thompson, so he will advance on to Sunday's final. So now we're the last game left in play for the evening. And we see clumped in a shot stone belonging to Kendall Thompson. So that does, with the win, Jamie Murphy does extend, as we mentioned, to 7-0. Stuart Thompson will be 5-2. Based on the head-to-head, no matter what the result of this game, that will mean that Stevens will finish in second place and will have the last rock in the semifinal against Stuart Thompson. Burgess here to play some of those around, will sail that one by. And it's tough position there for sure for Kendall Thompson. My apologies there, Chad, as he's had some of these shots here in this 10th end go wrong. Bright side for him is that his team will still live to see another day in this event. They'll have a date with Stuart Thompson tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. I will have the call for you of that matchup. And it will be a good one, as those two teams will battle. Winner will face off against Jamie Murphy at 2 Sunday for the Deloitte Tankard title. Everest here looking for top 8, working hard on it is McCrae and Brophy. A little bit light, so we'll see where it over curls. It will come, just taps the yellow of Chad Stevens. Peter Burgess here at third stones. Looking to angle back, his yellow, it appears. Will remove his yellow. So holding is Kendall Thompson. That would be enough for a win for sure.
27.
I'll win 19 over Scotia. So they were
on to skip stones here. We have Kendall Thompson holding 2 and currently sitting in a position to steal the win. Brophy and McCrae working on this one, trying to push this enough. We'll get the stone to the center line. Just over curls a slight bit. Really puts the pressure on Chad Stevens, and pretty much based on what I'm seeing him lining up, his only option really is this very long angle run. It's a difficult option, but it is there. And if anyone can throw the big shot in the big moment, it is Chad Stevens, having been in a few major finals, especially in this event.
Yeah, I was like, you have a nice, just like
Looking for the angle run. Middlestat working on this one, trying to hold it. Gets enough to remove the. Still be down one. So quickly there, Kendall Thompson putting the broom down, calling for the draw to the button with backing. He gets it there. It would really make it nearly impossible for Chad Stevens. But it'll be a challenge that he'll be up to. I know that for sure. Final zone for him without the last rock, Kendall Thompson. McCrae and Brophy waiting for it to go. Will say shot Stone, only holding the single points. So the big question is, how fractured the two? It's very, very difficult either way. Really, the only option is that angle run on the other side. So I suppose actually no, my apologies. You can, if you navigate tight through that port, push back the blue that shot Stone and stick right there. You could be in for two. We'll have to wait and see. It almost sounded like, based on how the look was from both Stevens and Burgess, he was looking almost at doing the same angle run. I'm kind of questioning whether that's what he's throwing. Yes, that it would be the shot for the win. Sorry, correction, for the extra end. Brecken working on this, looking for the angle. Will it be enough? Will he get the two that he needs to send this game to extras? He will not, as it just goes a little bit by. It will be a steal of one. Kendall Thompson to pick up a 10-7 victory over Chad Stevens. So when we come to you at 9 a.m., we will have women's tiebreaker action, as we will have both games in play on each of our feature games. So until we talk to you again on behalf of our crew behind the scenes at 360 Live, I'm John Seitman saying good night. We'll see you back for Scotty's tiebreaker action at 9 a.m. What? Oh, before we go, I need